Welcome to PuckTime. We are fine on air. It was a little late up today. I had technical problems, but host Carmine Bianco, WagerTalk.com. We have Andrew McInnis of Sports Memo. We're going to look at last night's Blue Stars game, and then we're going to talk about tonight's Sharks Avalanche Game 7. A couple of Game 7s back to back. Andrew, how's it going?
Hey, Carm, we're doing really good. Won a game last night. Couldn't believe it. Great St. Louis. They were the better team. A great story though. Patrick Maroon, St. Louis born. Great to see him kind of get that goal. His kid, his family, so excited for him as well. And gotta say though, great goaltending display we saw yesterday. Plain and simple. Jordan Binnington, the rookie, looking so relaxed, looking so calm in nets. As we saw after they won that game, Carm, he wasn't even jumping up and down. He wasn't even too excited. He was like, okay, on to the next series. Let's get it done. I do want to mention real quick, Ben Bishop, 52 saves, fifth goalie since 1956, Carm, to record 50 or more saves in a Game 7. Third to do it in a loss. So outstanding game, but we got another one on tap here tonight. How are you?
Yeah, most definitely. Listen, I had the under in that game for my clients. A little worried after that first period. I was out watching the Raptors game, but we had that game on as well too. But yeah, Bishop literally stood on his head. He had unbelievable goaltending throughout this series. Binnington talked about how he started to get a little tired late in the third. The 7 games, I think, obviously took its toll on both goalies. But Blues advance. I've got them at 14-1 to win the cup, so I'm pretty happy about that. They were my last future after the Capitals got bounced. So that's pretty good. Listen, guys, you're watching PuckTime on Wager TV. We are going to discuss the Sharks Avalanche game. This is obviously going 7 games. Record-wise, the Sharks are 7-4 all-time in Game 7s. The Avalanche / Quebec Nordiques are 6-7 lifetime in Game 7s. I think we talked about it yesterday. Over the last 20 games, not including last night, home and away teams have a same record at 10-10 in Game 7s. This has been a very tough series. The Sharks gave it a game in Game 6. They came back from a goal down 3 times before losing it in OT. Current line on this game right now is the over/under is set at 5.5. The over to 120 minus 135 now to where you.
I gotta say, off time looks side with this here. Is the do account the home age. That's really wrong factor for San Jose here against Colorado. 18 of their last 20 home games versus Colorado they've won. So that's a huge number there. That's a huge scale. If it was a 2 out of 3 or 4 out of 5, it'd be a little different. But 18 of the last 20 home games they've played against Colorado, they've come out successful. But I gotta say, that was a rally in the Colorado in Game 6, the forced. And the biggest thing that was probably one of the slowest game of really the whole series, maybe even the playoffs. So you got a great kind of effort there from the supporting cast of Tyson Jost and JT Compher and those type of guys. And that's what really means a lot to me. Is the key for me is as great as we had those top line for Colorado. I want to see depth. I want to see depth of scoring. I want to see guys that you don't expect to get involved kind of make a name for themselves. A guy like Carl Soderberg, I think he has to get involved a little bit. Even Brassard, Colin Wilson, those type of guys. When it comes down to it, I know McKinnon's going to show up tonight. I know Rantanen, Landeskog, but it's going to be about the supporting cast for the Colorado Avalanche. For me, when I look at San Jose, it's the exact opposite, where I got to see Logan Couture come up with a big game tonight. We want to see Nyquist have a big game tonight. Even Timo Meier finally bury one, get one going here. I do lean to the Colorado Avalanche, but I will say I'm struggling with a little bit of the home ice advantage and just kind of the flip-flopping with this series. I have a series bet on Colorado coming into this one. But, Carm, the play I'm giving out here on this podcast is going to be the over 5.5. We've seen a little bit of a lower scoring game. We've seen it slow down a little bit in this series. And San Jose, as we know, along with Colorado, have been over trenders quite a bit here in this playoffs. But I just want to get this out here before I throw it back to you. In the Sharks' past 11 games at home, the over is 10-1 with an average score of 7.2 goals a game. And especially we're getting that stat here heading into a Game 7 elimination situation. I'm going ahead and taking the over 5.5 in this one.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. We had a couple low-scoring games in this series, but for the most part, and it's something I talked about on one of the previous shows going into the series, they were averaging 7.7 goals in their games. Obviously, it's come down a bit with a couple sixes and I think one low score in a 3-0 game, 3-0 game. But yeah, the last one looked like it was probably on the way to staying under, and then they got 34 goals in that second period, which sort of blew up that game. But I'm looking at a guy like Brett Burns, or Burns, yeah, he's plus 350 to score tonight, and I'm actually going to take him. Brent Burns, sorry, I said Brett, but Brent to score tonight. He's plus 350. He's last couple of games he's come back into it. He looks to be picking it up, and at plus 350, it looks like a good price. A couple of the other guys are like Hurdle. You know what I mean? I know that he's playing a little bit better. Plus 125 to score, not a great price. And Rantanen, I think who you mentioned, plus 145 to score for Colorado tonight. It's one of those ones where I think if the Sharks want to really instill their home ice here, they've got to come out the same way they have in the past at home. Get on top early with Colorado, and then if you can shut down that line with McKinnon and Soderberg, and just they're shut down that number one line, and just see if that second and third line can beat you. Stay out of the box. I think that's a big thing. And definitely when you're talking about the over 5.5, this is probably a good time for that third period over that you guys like, because any type of a game that's 2-1, 3-1 going to the third, we're going to see some goals with these two teams. So I'm leaning on both Sharks and the over here as far as wagering, and not sure on the first period total, but definitely over 5.5 here. Game 7. Typically you want to look at a Game 7 and think it's going to be a low-scoring game, kind of like the St. Louis one is. But these two teams, other than maybe one game in this series, I believe, is they've just been scoring goals. So I'm just looking at the scores right now. 4-3, 2-1, 3-0, but then you got 6, 4-2, 4-3, 5-2. So they're scoring goals. So maybe some of the same tonight. He's Andrew McInnis. You can find him on Twitter at McInnis Picks. You can find me on Twitter at Carmine Bianco WT. Give us a follow on Twitter, guys. So we're always posting some free stuff and some recommendations in-game wagering. In-game wagering is a great way, if your book allows for it, to make some money, and sometimes to hedge out of your original bet. So it's a great way to not only build your bankroll but protect it at the same time. All right. We talked about the all-time thing. This is again Sharks 7-4 at home, Avalanche 6-7 under the Colorado Nordique one. I think more 6-7 ones for the Avalanche were under the Nordique's name when they used to have those big Montreal rivalries back then. So I don't know. Anything's possible tonight. Like I said, it's that first period. If the Sharks can come out and instill their will on the Avalanche, I think they get the win tonight. If they're sevens, Andrew, give me some scoring props.
Yeah, I mean, looking at this one here, heading into this game, we didn't see him have a great game last game. I mentioned his name, and this isn't really too much of a value pick, more as just a Game 7 heroic, top guy. I think you can know who I'm talking about here, Nathan McKinnon for the Colorado Avalanche. I was just shocked getting him at price here. We're seeing him for 4th line. him at plus 145 to score anytime in this game. And another little bet I'm taking as well on him, and this is a little bit of an out there bet, but I'm taking him to score last, meaning to score the game winner of this plus 800. And,
Wow.
at plus 800, there's some value there. A couple other guys I'm looking at here. Kevin LeBanc, he's been a guy that showed up big time. He showed up against Vegas in that series. So he's paying plus 275. I like him big time as well. Another player I also liked was JT Compher. I mean, when something's not broken, you don't fix it. That's kind of the motto people say, right? And he had a great game last game. He was kind of the backbone of that supporting cast or secondary scoring, if you will. He's not really in that conversation with Rantanen or McKinnon by any means, but he's done a great job to kind of make his mark. And my little value pick is going to be Joe Thornton, plus 425.
All right.
He's kind of been there as well. And I think it's important to mention because it did hit last game, Carm, when Mark-Edward Vlasic scored 2 goals. Any other goal scorer is paying a pretty good price here. At any time or at all, plus 400. So looking at that as well, betting the field. So
Yeah,
interesting.
absolutely. When you're looking at the players they have to offer, always look at that none of the players listed, like basically the field, because if you can pick up a guy who's playing on that third or fourth line, and they're pumping out 4 lines all the time. I mean, you look at Thornton. Thornton's on the third line with LeBanc and Sorensen. Um, and that third line's been pretty good, LeBanc especially. So who knows? Maybe in a big game 7, Thornton comes out, kind of like Williams for Carolina. So you just never know.
For
Sometimes
sure.
these guys come out in Game 7 and they instill their will. I know he's a little old, but he's still useful. Okay, guys, listen again. You're listening to Puck Time. I'll be hosting again tomorrow. Andrew will be on. The technical difficulties are hopefully be gone by then. I'm going to try and get someone else in on the show, and then on Friday, Alex takes over, and Prez should be back from Vegas with some great news for both Wager Talk and Sports Memo. I know the news. I love the news, and you guys are going to love it as well too. So tune in to Wager Talk TV. Kelly will probably put something together, and Twitter. Our Twitter news account will definitely have some news on it. A couple promos. Listen, I got a 5% play tonight. I won my one on Saturday with Boston. I got a 5% play on tonight's game. If you use promo code CARM15, CARM 15, $15 off tonight's play. So head over to WagerTalk and pick up the play. Andrew, I want to talk about another promo because I know we have CFL coming up. I'm a big football guy up here, NFL, CFL. I used to cover the Argos for the Fan 590 here, so I'm a big, huge football fan, see a lot of the games. You have a CFL promo, regularly $7.99, but they can get it now for $300 off at $4.99, and it's every single play, including 5% plays, up to and including the Grey Cup. Correct?
Absolutely. I mean, the entire season, and it is a very, very long season. This deal is only good until the start of the season, so get on it early, the early bird special. And as many people know, CFL is kind of my bread and butter. I kind of try to specialize in these, niche Canadian markets like the NHL and CFL. So, maybe you don't know too much about the CFL, but it's not the NFL by any means. It's its own kind of football for sure, but it sure is exciting, and you can definitely make some money profiting off the betting markets with it. So looking forward to the season, Carm.
Yeah, definitely. Andrew McInnis, again on Twitter at McInnis Picks, and then myself at Carmine Bianco WT. You can find him at Sports Mammal, myself at Wager Talk. I have gotten Missy, who works endless hours at Wager Talk for both of us and does a ton of stuff. I've got her to put up a hockey promo. You'll find it on my account at Wager Talk, and it should be up a little later on Andrew's. But instead of $189, $89 gets you every single play left from the conference finals up to and including the final Stanley Cup game, and we're tossing in the double IHF World Hockey Championships, which get underway in a couple days. So this is sort of a limited time offer before the conference championships, $89. And you know that we're going to have some 5% plays somewhere along the line in both the championships and in the Stanley Cup, and those go for like 30 a pop. So $89 you can get everything is I think is a great deal. And listen, there were so many upsets in the first round of the playoffs that these teams in the World Championships are stocked with players. I was looking at Canada yesterday. In a friendly they beat Austria. I think the final was 7-6 or 7-5, 7-5. And they're loaded. They're loaded for bear on that team. I've got them plus 275 as a future. But Russia's got a great team as well, too. So this is going to be a great championship. And I know you're going to have a ton of plays, correct?
Absolutely. I actually have one that's being written out right now. It's important, to mention that certain people just look at these games, they look at the countries. It's like, okay, this team is usually good with the Worlds. This team's usually good with the Worlds. But, Carmine and myself are both going to be looking at the rosters, the schedules, the line pairings, the coaching staff. We look at all of it and take that into account with our IHF World Hockey Championship plays. So this is a very good market to capitalize on, and I can't wait. I have 2 plays lined up for Friday already.
Yeah, I think normally what we see is the sort of the top seeds in the NHL playoffs seem to get into that second round, third round after the championships start, and sometimes some players will make it over that way if they're top stars, for the last few rounds or what have you. But this is one of those seasons where a lot of good teams were knocked out early. A lot of good players still have that fire in them because they expected to be in the semifinals, the conference finals, Stanley Cup. Tampa Bay, of course, being one of them, and Washington as well. So there are players there that are fired up to win. Normally, like a team like Canada, a lot of their players are sort of locked up still in the NHL playoffs. We've got a lot over there right now, and this is one of the reasons why I took Canada is they just really want to perform well and win this. So whether they do,
I'll give you two guys, Carm, Jonathan Marchessault and John Tavares. 2 guys that should be friggin' motivated right now to go ahead and win something. John Tavares coming off a breakout, a huge year with the Leafs. And, of course, Marchessault, we know his whole story. We don't want to get into this right now about how San Jose knocked them off, but I'm sure he'll be very motivated. And like you mentioned, Russia as well, with the Capitals going out and many more.
Yeah, anytime you got Ovi on your team, it's always a good thing. But anyways, okay, listen, so it's puck time. Don't forget the promo for tonight's game, Carm15. Get tonight's winner in Game 7, and then we're right back at it tomorrow with the Bruins and the Hurricanes. Those bunch of idiots taking on the Bruins. It's a bunch of jerks. Sorry, the bunch of jerks. Whatever Don Cherry said.
2 jerks. 2 teams of jerks.
It'll be great to see what he's got to say tomorrow night between the first and second period intermission there. But so we've got some prop bets from you, some prop bets for myself. I think we both like the over on today's game. I will see you tomorrow. Thanks for coming on. This is Puck Time, and thanks for watching, guys.
Thanks, Carm.